So, what do Olympians actually eat? Do they really pay attention to their nutrition as much as their training? I'm about to share with you what separates elite athletes from the world's greatest. And I promise some of this is going to surprise you. Hey beautiful humans, welcome back to our channel Ink Nutrition. My name's Jack, I'm a sports dietitian and I'm here to help translate the science of nutrition so that you can live a happier and healthier life. Please like, comment, and subscribe for videos every week. Thanks. So I love all sports. I love watching them, I love playing them, I love coaching athletes. And there is nothing, except for maybe the World Cup, but I'm biased because I'm a soccer player, that compares to the Olympics. Olympians are just incredible to watch. It's truly like nothing else, winter and summer. It's amazing. And there's such a small, tiny gap that really separates the best from the rest. And while they all are very dedicated and they all put in countless hours of training, there is something that can separate them, right? Genetics, yes, that's one piece. There's a lot of things, but I truly think proper, optimal nutrition is what can take someone to that podium, right? And allow someone to be truly the best. Now, there are over 10,000 athletes competing in 32 different sports in this year's Summer Olympics in Paris. However, there is a pretty big overlap with optimal nutrition for peak performance among the world's greatest athletes. So I'm going to talk about 5 main categories. We have quantity of food, quality of food, nutrient timing, hydration, and then supplements. First up, we have quantity of food. We're talking about total calorie intake. So there are some events in the Olympics like archery, diving, table tennis that require a lot of intensity and a lot of focus, but they don't lead to as much energy expenditure, right? They're not burning as many calories as certain endurance sports, like swimming, for example. Some of you may remember Michael Phelps' famous 10,000 calorie diet when he was training for the Beijing Olympics. And that was accurate. I would say on average, Olympic swimmers who are training 4 to 6 hours a day at a pretty high intensity need anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 calories every day. So that's probably the most of all Olympic athletes, closely followed by cross-country skiing in the winter. I would say on average, they need anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. And then road cyclists need approximately 5,000 to 7,000 a day. And then finally, water polo, rugby, soccer, and marathon athletes on average require anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000 calories a day. So that is a lot, but they are putting that volume in. They are expending that much, and they absolutely need to make sure and prioritize getting enough calories in so that they can maintain and even improve their performance. Another number to consider with all of those endurance-based athletes, they need about or at least 30 calories per pound of body weight. So you can do some calculations there to give you an idea. Next up, we have the quality of their food intake. So I truly do believe, especially for those endurance Olympians, making sure that they get enough calories and focus on the quantity of food takes priority. That is most important. But closely following that is the quality, right? The actual types of foods that they're getting. And again, there are so many different sports and body sizes and food preferences that lead to very specific nutrition recommendations. However, from my research, the Olympians that are top performing, the ones that are actually winning medals, really do focus on the types of foods that they're having, the quality. First up, the best athletes are focusing on getting the freshest food, the ones that are minimally processed, because when you do that, you're making sure that you are receiving those nutrients in the most bioavailable way. That is how we're supposed to eat food anyways, right? Fresh, whole sources. Having said that, athletes that need 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 calories a day are gonna have processed food, of course. So the next best thing is to really narrow down on high quality processed foods that have good ingredients. Ingredients that you can recognize and pronounce, like actual whole food ingredients on things like, bars and powders and things that come in cans and packages and jars and things like that. And when it comes to the macronutrient breakdown, most Olympic athletes are getting 50 to 65% of their total calories from high quality complex carbohydrates. Foods like oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, sweet potatoes, lentils, fresh fruit. 20 to 25% of calories are typically coming from high quality protein, both plant-based and animal-based protein, right? Eggs, fish, milk, dairy, meat, chicken, poultry, also lentils, beans, nuts, seeds, nut butters, all that, tofu, soy products, okay? Those are some of the very best. Now, of course, there are some vegan vegetarian Olympians that are incredible. They just have to really focus on making sure that they do get the best plant-based protein sources. And just like protein, 20 to 25% of total calories are also coming from healthy fats. We don't focus enough on making sure and prioritizing foods like avocados, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, nuts and seeds, nut butters like almond butter, cashew butter, peanut butter, and even things like tahini and hummus. Okay, those are all very, very important for a high quality diet, especially for elite athletes, to promote recovery, reduce inflammation, and a whole lot of other things. So in addition to the macronutrients, I also want to quickly talk about antioxidants. So we can't exercise too much, and some of these Olympians maybe overtrain themselves, but they're adapted to that. Nevertheless, when you overtrain, you do accumulate a lot of free radicals in the body, which can lead to oxidative stress. So in order to neutralize those free radicals and maintain and promote health and performance, as well as limit fatigue, athletes need to make sure that they have a lot of antioxidant-rich foods in their diet. So these foods are like berries, all berries, leafy greens, tomatoes, cruciferous vegetables. Those are some examples. So while I just talked a lot about how important the quality of food is and getting enough fresh food in, I've read a lot of quotes from some of the best athletes in the world, some gold medal Olympians, who allow themselves to also have sweets and cookies and cakes and ice cream, right? And chips and other processed foods in certain amounts when the timing is right. And I think that's very healthy. And it's not healthy to honestly be super strict and count and record everything that you're having. So yeah, they're probably much more strict at, leading up to the Olympics and during the Olympics. But during their training, they allow themselves to have all kinds of foods. All foods do fit, even for Olympians. So that's just a reminder for everyone. You don't have to be crazy strict with everything. And I think it's actually a benefit to not be as strict and just develop a good relationship with your food. Because when that happens, you feel good in your body and you are probably going to perform even better and your health and performance are going to benefit. All right, we talked about quantity, we talked about quality. The next most important thing for Olympic athletes to focus on from a nutritional standpoint is nutrient timing. What and when to eat, right? Pre, during, and post exercise. And I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of detail here, but I'll tell you right now, Olympians are very particular and they pay a lot of attention to when they have their meals and their snacks. And it, again, depends on the event and the type of athlete and preferences, but in general, 2 to 3 hours before an event or a race is when you want to have a very balanced, pretty complete meal, rich in complex carbs and moderate in the protein and the fat. 2 to 3 hours is usually enough time to fully digest that. Some athletes prefer a little bit more time to digest so that they don't feel really, anything kind of disturbing their GI system. But if you are hungry, or if these athletes are hungry within an hour, right, they still sometimes have something. They just have something that's very light and easy to digest, and something that is, again, rich in the carbs, low in the protein and the fat, so that it can be immediately turned into fuel for that exercise. Now, post-exercise is very critical as well, especially for these athletes that are competing in back-to-back events, which is pretty common in things like swimming, right? That's a big one. Like sometimes they have to turn around in an hour, or tennis I was just watching, like they have to do match day after day. So they have to really prioritize getting a high quality meal in, not only before, but after their exercise. Ideally within an hour or so, they get that that meal that is also rich in the carbohydrates to replace that glycogen, but also definitely high in the high quality protein to not only repair but rebuild some of that muscle tissue that has been broken down. If you want more specific details on pre, during, and post-exercise nutrition and what to have and how much to have as an elite athlete, I will link a couple of those videos here. All right, the fourth category is hydration. Olympic athletes take hydration extremely seriously as well. And when it comes to just overall fluid intake from a day-to-day basis, first off, very few have alcohol, right, on a regular basis. Some have, a moderate amount, but also many don't have any at all because they're so dedicated, of course, to their craft. Now, a lot of them have just water, tea, sports drinks when appropriate, some milk, some high quality juices, right? That makes up the majority of Olympic athletes, fluid intake. But when it comes to their training and like on event day, that, it has to be a science, okay? And depending on the event, you have to have certain amounts at certain times. And electrolytes also, of course, are gonna play a big role. In general, if the event is less than an hour, electrolytes or added carbohydrates to their fluid is not necessary, but events longer than an hour, right? Cycling, marathon, soccer, you wanna make sure that you do have some added electrolytes and carbohydrates. And when it comes to the amounts, depends on sweat rate, but anywhere from like 16 to 32 ounces an hour is what a lot of elite and Olympic athletes are having. 30 to 90 grams of easy to digest carbohydrates per hour, 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium per hour, and then 100 to 200 milligrams of potassium. So again, very sciencey, but when we're talking about small margins of victory, all of that can make a difference. Performance, both physically and mentally, can significantly impaired if an athlete loses more than 2% of their body weight during exercise. So for a 180-pound athlete, that would be 3 to 4 pounds, of weight loss, usually completely in the form of sweat. So it's very, very important that for especially endurance athletes that they maintain that optimal hydration status. Now, the final category is supplements. And this is always a hot topic in the world of sports nutrition and elite athletes. But when it comes to the Olympics, this is very tightly regulated, and we probably all know certain examples of when athletes have crossed the line. Sometimes knowingly, and other times athletes actually are unaware that they are having a banned substance. So it's on the athlete, it's on the coach, it's on the trainers, it's on the the team dietitian to make sure that these Olympic athletes are consuming safe and effective supplements, if supplements are even necessary. A lot of Olympic athletes actually don't have any supplements, and that's amazing. I absolutely encourage a food first philosophy. I think you can always meet your nutrient needs and even enhance your performance by just having high quality foods in the right amounts. There are very, very few safe and effective legal supplements that can directly improve sports performance. Okay, things like creatine, caffeine, possibly beetroot. Those are just a small sample. There could be a couple others there, but those are the ones only that I ever recommend. And if I am going to recommend them, and we do a thorough assessment with an athlete, it's always going to be from a third-party tested company. So again, Olympic athletes take this super serious. The last thing they want to do is train for years to get to their event and then get tested and fail that test and not be able to perform and compete. That is the worst. But fortunately, athletes are now catching on in understanding the power of food and how just focusing on high quality of food in the right amounts at the right times is a performance enhancement in itself. And you don't need supplements. Sometimes they can make things actually worse. So again, that's on an athlete-to-athlete basis, but I will always recommend a food-first philosophy. All right, that's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you learned a few things. This was a lot of sports nutrition talk, but it's fascinating. And the Olympics are right now, right? We're right in the middle of it. So as you are enjoying watching the best athletes in the world, just think about everything that they're putting in their body, because that is just as important as the training that they put in as well. My name is Jack, registered dietitian with Inc. Nutrition. I love sharing all of this with you. If you have any comments, drop them below. If you want me to talk about anything else in the world of nutrition, also drop it below. Please like, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you next time. Hope everybody has a delicious day. Thanks so much. Athletes competing in 32, 5 to 7,000 calories a week, a day. I'm about to share with you what coconut oil, nuts and seeds, and some processed foods, when they're different body sizes, food preferences. Oh my